January 21st, 2025, Ellis County Commission meeting to order. All those that are able and capable, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Bobby, the clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Neil Younger,
Present.
Chair Michael Burgess,
Here.
Commissioner Nathan Liker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And the order of business, any changes or amendments needed in the order?
Nope. I have none.
We will have 2 executive sessions following our regular meeting. And before we start, I'd like to make a quick public announcement regarding health and safety of our public. The City of Hayes has a boil water advisory, so please take that under caution and boil your water or use bottled water throughout the day until they get our services back up in order. And so I'll wish the crews out there battling the weather and this to safety and good luck in getting things back in order. With that, first agenda item, prior minutes of January 14th. Everybody got to look at them?
Yes, look good.
Any changes? No changes on my part. Consent agenda.
Everything looked good there for me.
I agree. I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items A through G.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second on the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 No opposed. Passes 3-0. Issues from persons not on the order of business. Anybody in the public who would like to speak on a topic? Seeing none, we'll proceed. Monthly departmental report. Neil, any comments,
I have none.
thoughts on it?
Good.
Nathan?
I'd like to make a mention that our sheriff's department's run of luck is a little over with his jail. He had more than 5 inmates housed out of county throughout the month of January, or I guess this would be the month of December. So our population's back up and we're over capacity once again.
Yes, and our incidents per day have seemed to be rising, so typically in colder weather that kind of goes down, so.
And again, hats off to our public works crews for the snow removal process that they did. I know the hours aren't showing up on this report, but I know it's there.
They're out there, yep. Thank you. Cottonwood Extension update, Cottonwood Extension District information sharing. We got Monique and Tamara.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
Monique Kerner, Cottonwood Extension District Family and Community Wellness Agent. Thanks for having me today. It's been a couple of years since I've been here. I apologize for that, but hopefully we can remedy that. We're new agents and just trying to figure out our job and what we're supposed to be doing. So I did want to come and give a little bit of an update, what I've been up to, and then some things that we're working on for 2025. So the last couple of years, I've been working hard in the schools, taking them health and wellness information, doing different activities with them. We've also done several sessions of Stay Strong, Stay Healthy, which is an 8-week strength training class for older adults. We've done several sessions of Walk with Ease, which is an arthritis foundation program just to help get people more active. We also teach some classes around nutrition, so we've done some dining with diabetes and med instead of meds. And then we also have Walk Kansas every year. We'll have it again this year. We'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary doing Walk Kansas this year. So excited for that. We'll also have a focus on diabetes prevention and management as well too. So on to the programs that I'm excited to bring to Ellis County in 2025. We have a hypertension awareness and prevention program. So the focus is on people that have been diagnosed with hypertension or on hypertension medication. We will teach them how to self-monitor their blood pressure at home and how to communicate that with their provider and stay in touch about their health that way. They will receive a free validated blood pressure monitor with that. There will be coaching sessions with me twice a month, and then there will also be nutrition classes for them as well once a month. It's a 4-month program, so it'll run from February until May or June, and we hope to invite the public to those nutrition classes as well. The next program I wanted to talk about is Becoming a Mom. It is a 6-week prenatal education program. We have written grants to provide incentives for the classes, so each class the participants participate in, they will receive diapers, wipes, books, toys, those types of things. If they attend 4 out of the 6 classes, they will receive a bigger incentive, either an infant play mat or a portable crib. So that is a partnership between a lot of local agencies. We have instructors from Hayes Med, First Care Clinic, and I will be teaching some classes as well, and High Plains Mental Health. We're also working with a midwife to get her on board to help teach as well. So, and we have lots of other community partners. EMS has been integral in getting this program off and running, Early Childhood Connections, and Infant Toddler Services as well. So, it's been wonderful working with all of our community partners to bring that to Hayes. I've got flyers for you guys so you know exactly when everything starts. The Becoming a Mom classes will start in February at the Hayes Public Library. And then the last event I wanted to bring to your attention, you may have gotten a save the date from me on Friday about a community baby shower. So while it's not directly linked to the Becoming a Mom program, we're kind of seeing it as a celebration at the end of our first 6-week class. And we're also using it as a kickoff to a celebration for the Week of the Young Child. So that will be held Saturday, April 5th. We have secured funding for portable cribs. So when parents attend, they'll do a pre-test and a post-test, and if they participate in those, they will receive a free portable crib in hopes that everybody has access to a safe sleep in our community. So we also plan on having lots of community partners there as well. We envision maybe the county clerk's office being there if she feels it's necessary to get people registered to vote. We'd like EMS and firefighters, sheriff, those types of people there as well, offering whatever information they feel is necessary. So we have a subcommittee meeting this week, so hopefully I'll have more details later. So any questions?
With the Becoming a Mom class,
Yes.
is this going to be your second iteration, third iteration, or is
This is the first.
this will be the first?
Yes.
Okay.
I have been working with Barton County. Since they're in our district, I go down there and help with their Becoming a Mom class, and I think the information is very comprehensive. The curriculum's already put together by the March of Dimes. It's from KDHE, and so just working with the state and the community partners to bring that to Ellis County.
Very good. Thank you.
Can
You're
the
welcome.
fathers or dads participate in that program?
Absolutely, yes. We want mothers there, we want dads and partners and whatever support people the mother would like to have there. So we have funding for basically 10 family units for that. Midwest Energy and Heartland Community Foundation gave us grants to get that program kicked off, and then all of our community partners are donating their time to the program. So yes, we want all the support people because 2 ears, 2 heads are better than one.
You had mentioned earlier, Monique, about going into different schools. What age group is that? Are you targeting every age group?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I have a background in early childhood, so I love the 0 to 5. So I go all the way down into the 0 to 3 age group. I go into child care homes and child care centers, all the way up to high school. I was just at Hayes High earlier this week doing not this week, but earlier this month, doing glow germ presentations there and teaching them about good hand hygiene. So, yeah, I think that's the best part of my job.
That is including Victoria, Ellis, you're traveling to those
So
also?
one of the other things that we're working on is getting into the Ellis community. We've been over to the rec center, the library, and developing relationships over there with several of the partners. I will actually be in Ellis on Friday at their preschool doing a presentation. And yes, we are going to work on Victoria as well. So,
Okay.
yes, thank
And the
you.
only reason I bring that up, I'm in the Lions Club and they do the eye
Yes,
checking.
yes,
So that would
A
be
spot.
nice because we're having a hard time getting into them.
Okay.
So if you could maybe spread that, because
yeah.
we done that last week and we found some issues with some of the kids.
Oh,
So
yeah.
which is a good deal for the parenting
Right,
part
right.
of it. And catching their eye earlier because everybody, computer, phones, all the gadgets. So,
Yes.
um,
Yes, we did spots at Early Childhood Connections when I worked there, and that's an amazing device because
is.
it's not, you can do it in the home, and it's pretty accurate and scans for many different eye issues. So, yeah, let me know if we can work together somehow, and I could maybe make that part of
Yeah, let me know.
of a program that I do.
And we'll get
That's a great
somebody
idea.
there, or if you get us in the door and.
Yeah,
But, yeah. Okay,
thank you.
Thank you for the update.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I'll turn it over to Tamara.
I'll be short and sweet. I'm Tamara Robertson. I'm the 4-H Development Agent with the Cottonwood Extension District. My main focus is here in Ellis County. We've got about 150 youth enrolled in 4-H, so that ranges from 5-year-olds all the way up to 18-year-olds. And then we've got about 50 volunteers, so that can be our club leaders, any of our superintendents that help at the county fair, or any project leaders as well. Working close with our Ellis County Fair Board, so thank you for everything you guys do with them, getting our fairgrounds improved and all that kind of stuff for our big showcase in February or in July. It's definitely one of our kids' favorite events. So thank you for everything that you guys do for us and 4-H.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate seeing the kids come in. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Development Service of Northwest Kansas update, DSNWK, sharing further information on programs in our community. So, Jerry Michaud, and you brought part of your crew with you.
Good morning, Commissioners and
Morning.
everyone.
Morning.
Jerry Michaud, Developmental Services President there. And I really appreciate the chance to come and provide an update to you. I hope that through this next few minutes that we can go to Topeka, we can go to Washington, D.C., and we can talk about some things right here in Ellis County. All of it's connected, of course. Let me begin with my gratitude to the Commission for the support that you provide to us. It's vital support. We have a complicated world that we operate in. It's a Medicaid-funded system. It's state-funded. It's all kinds of things. You'll hear a few other updates from Wade and Sarah here in just a moment. But I wanted to start with a document, and I shared it in the packet. It was titled the KDADS and CDDO Systems Values document. I shared that. We developed this. It was just almost 2 years ago as a collaborative effort with the Department of Disability and Aging Services. But it gives a great snip at the history and why we are what we are and why we do what we do. We are part of our county structure by appointment under the statutes. That's part of what our role is, and it's a great role. Looking back in history, the system really didn't exist in the 50s and 60s. We took our origin in 67, but it didn't exist before, but it was a collaborative effort between counties and nonprofit organizations to form a structure and a system that we have today. That's a very important perspective, and its focus is on helping individuals. That's the focus. That is our interest. It always has been our interest. Independence, integration, and inclusion, and productivity, 4 key areas which are important, I think, probably certainly to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, but really to each and every one of us. Those are important components of good and healthy living. On the back side of that sheet, or this next page, it hit, 8 areas of, I would just characterize it as just common sense approaches to how you work together as a state and as a community system, and what values and how culture and ethics and all those things are so integral and important to just a well-functioning approach. And then we celebrate our successes. I think that's an important aspect of just being part of a system that helps and serves other people. So I offer that as a perspective because in our role, it's not been an easy process over these last year. And it's actually been a bit of a struggle as we are facing a number of multi-system changes that affect everything from how individuals are assessed in our system, the funding structure that's tied to it, the definitions of how services will be and what they'll look like, and the real potential for, I think, some real challenges that I hope we can avoid in the process of this thing getting forged out. So we got a number of those types of systems that are underway. We do contract with the state. One of those challenge points was we just got paid for the first half of the year here in January for a half a year of service. I'm sorry, guys, that doesn't work. We've had to work with our reserves to cover the gap, but we just got paid in mid-January for the work that we've been doing since July. We can do better as a system. So we're working with that on the redefining roles, and this is an important piece. There's an interest, I think, in the state to look at our system because of the potentials for conflicts of interest. And I'll just call it what it is. That's the buzz. Our interest has always been, we're a nonprofit, we're mission-focused. That's what we do. Our relationship with you all and with all the rest of our counties, it's important. And transparency is all part of what we do. There are some that think that because of an inherent potential for conflict, which each and every one of us has that potential in our lives and in our worlds, but we find ways to mitigate those things, right? We recuse ourselves from conversations that relate to us. That's part of normal business and what we do. So we believe that there are ways to mitigate those things. We have them in our system. But I wanted to plant that thought because there are some that are pushing for some type of change there. And I can take questions on that if you'd like me to go into more detail. On the federal level, as we look at our finances, we faced a Department of Labor change that has been averted by the courts. I didn't know how we were going to pay for that. That was supposed to go into effect. Part of it went into effect in July. Another part of it was supposed to go into effect on January 1. That was averted in the courts. But it would have cost us, if we would have raised all of our salary level staff to meet that new base salary threshold, it would have been well over $1 million, of which we didn't have. So anyway, that was good news for us. A little bit of progress on some things that are happening. Good things. There's an impact sheet that I put in there. I was hoping to have our last quarter of the calendar year. This is the September report. I'll have one out here in the next probably week or so on the updated version. But you can see at a glance the numbers of people, where people are served. Waiting list, you see that down in that bottom left corner, statewide, 143 people from Northwest Kansas. And then on the back side, it breaks down a little bit about which services that we provide and where are those folks being served. Every one of those where you see Ellis County or Hayes, you see the big spike in the graphs. Well, that's because the lion's share of the folks that we serve are right here in Ellis County, and that includes the staff that are located here or based from here. So a little bit of an update there, but some positive things that I wanted to share is that this last year in the state, they made a marked change in the waiting list. I've reported to the commission for a long, long time that waiting list has been long, it's big and long waiting. Before it was 10 plus years and there were over 5,400 people waiting statewide. They have made some movements. They brought, I'm not sure how many people. They were supposed to take off 500, but I've heard 800 people off of that wait list. About 20 from Northwest Kansas, 8 from Ellis County were among those people that were offered services. The new request date for people waiting is in, let's see, it's going to be June the 16th of 16. That means it's just a little over 9 years of a wait for people. That's those 4552. That was the last report I heard. So making progress, got a long way to go. We are opening a new small residential site here in Hayes. That's an exciting thing. That's coming up. We hope to serve 3 people. And I have to just say, it wouldn't be possible, but we had a lot of support from a local foundation. We had a generous donor that stepped up that's helping us to cover some of those startup costs and getting the equipment in the place that we need to have, those types of things. So that's exciting. Had some volunteer effort on that project too, where people just came together, rolled up the sleeves and poured concrete and built fences and those kinds of things. We've been pursuing grants through the help of Heartland Community Foundation, GiveFest. Those are all the kinds of things that we're trying to do our part to help offset and address some of those resources that we need to do our jobs well. And then one last one, we had our Night of Inspiration, which is where we celebrate the impact of people and their lives here in Northwest Kansas. So we continue to face workforce issues. Those are still present. I think last week we had 26 open positions, 18 in the Ellis County area. So we're working on that every day. Inflation has been biting at us. We received a rate increase a couple years ago. It's been all but about half of it's been consumed up in inflation. So we have to continue to battle on that. We are part, and in the conversations with our legislators who set the funding, the primary funding in Topeka, I'm going to be heading down there tomorrow to have conversations about what we need. So anyway, I could talk for a long time. I probably have talked for too long. Definitely want to just reiterate our appreciation for the support that comes from you all as this commission and the 17 others that we engage with throughout Northwest Kansas, and just couldn't do it without you. And we're glad to be a part of making lives better for people with disabilities. So I'll stop there. I didn't hear the crowd cheer. That's good.
Thank you, Jerry, for the update. What message would you have us carry throughout the year? I'm not going to make Neil, but Neil, I know, is going to KLPG, Kansas Legislator Policy Group in Topeka the next day. I was at a KAC, Kansas Association of Counties, last week, and we'll be at future meetings throughout the state. We'll be heading to Washington in April. So if we could carry a message for you about your program and services, what would you have us take?
Well, that's a great question. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. That would be one. Another one is these are essential services for people that need it. It just is. They need that support. And so don't forget to support that which you ask to be done. We've seen a lot of regulation, a lot of requirements, some definitions that change the very essence of what we do, and some of those things that are slated for change are simply, they just are unattainable. For example, to be out in the community, that's our job. We want people to be integrated, but for people that use and require 24-hour support, they need restroom support, they need all those kinds of things, and to not be able to utilize the center because they're supposed to be integrated in the community, at some point, that doesn't make a lick of sense because you have to have the facilities. I don't think the library is going to be too keen on us using their restroom to provide those kinds of supports to people. So common sense approach would be the prevailing thought. So, we need more of that.
I'm glad you bring that up. In the ethics together, that word was used a lot at the KAC here at Wichita, a month ago. And culture, being a different, at least in a faith, in a religion, it's now Sunday. Our priest was using that word together, and I'm thinking, hey, it's getting around, and now the common sense thing needs to play in part, which we lost.
Yeah.
I don't know where it went, but it's definitely gone. So
I think we can get it back. We just got to
Work
kind
at
of do
it.
a reset somehow, some way. We got to do a reset. And anyway,
okay.
Question for you on the waiting list for services. Are those individuals on that waiting list completely isolated from any services, or are they receiving coaching or help on how to proceed?
that's another great question. The waiting list would be for people that are eligible for home and community-based services, Medicaid-funded services. Those individuals have available to them something called targeted case management. It's a service coordination. It's a navigator, if you will. A person who has the expertise and how do you get your resources? What are your connections in your community and those kinds of things? That's available outside of the waiting list. They can have that today, and we work with that.
So they're not just hanging out there by themselves?
No, we have some folks that are waiting, that their life goes into crisis. Something happens with mom or dad, somebody passes, there's some health condition that prevents them from continuing. In those situations, there is an avenue for people to come into the system under crisis, but it doesn't happen all the time. And it's kind of a sad commentary that might be your way into the system, but something has to blow up in your life, that's a hard reality. But I will say on that targeted case management service, we do provide that within developmental services. That's one of those service areas that the state, saying under CMS's guidance, I'm not convinced of how all that's been transpired, but they're saying that those service components cannot be a part of the service delivery in the same organization. I think that's foolhardy under the guise of a potential conflict of interest. We have integrity and they have safeguards to prevent those things from getting off kilter. So, but I'm starting to preach and
Okay.
I don't want to.
Thank you.
Good, thank
Any
you.
other
Thanks,
questions?
Jerry.
Okay, I'm not sure who else is supposed to come next.
Sarah Wade, arm wrestle for it.
They thumb wrestled and the best for last. Where you go?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is
Morning.
Wade Cruz. I'm the Transportation Manager here for Access Public Transportation here in Hayes. Just a few things of what's been going on with Access. You noticed in the paperwork that I sent in to you folks, or DSNWK did, we provided already since July 1 of last year over 15,000 rides. I did do the numbers, and I forgot to put those in there for the county. We've actually provided over 1,100 county rides in the last 6 months. So the numbers are there. They're not as high as they used to be. I don't know why that is for the county, but we are still providing those rides on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Another thing you will see on my thing that we changed our operational hours due to budget constraints from KDOT and the FTA. DSWK, who is our parent company, we do our stuff through them, and KDOT. KDOT has cut our operational not our operational, admin funds by over $70-some thousand just for this year. We had to make adjustments in our operational to cut down on costs, so we want to make sure that we can provide those services to the public without going into the red. I actually sat on the KPTA board, which is the Kansas Public Transportation Association of the state of Kansas, which oversees 147 agencies across the state of Kansas. Last year, just in the last fiscal year, not this fiscal year, 27 agencies across the state of Kansas had to shut down because they had no funds. And that's in public transportation. So we don't want to get to that. Plus, with our rides being low on Saturdays and Sunday nights, we thought, well, maybe this is a good way for us to save a little money. And so we're going to run with that and see what happens. Another thing that we do have 2 new buses that are coming in for fiscal year 23. The reason why we haven't gotten those buses since we ordered them is because of the Ford manufacturer hasn't been making the chassis. So Diamond Coach is actually working on those now. I will tell you that a new bus for public transportation used to cost about $90,000. When I first started here 8 years ago, you will be surprised how much they cost now. They're just under $200,000 a piece. And there's nothing different about one that's 7 years old to what's coming out now. They're all the same. But that's how much inflation has gone up. Our budget is what we have. We can only use what we got. So what you folks provide to us every year is a very big help to us. Plus the city helps us out, and we've also had a contract with Fort Hays State University to provide the Tiger route. So we're hoping to continue down the path that we are to provide the public with what they need. And we know the public is enjoying our services because I hear it all the time. So, any questions on access that you would like to ask, or?
Just for a little bit of, I guess, clarification in a way, the funding that we give you for this program is then matched with federal dollars, KDOT or federal?
Well, the funding comes from the FTA, who gives it to KDOT, which is the Federal Transportation Administration, gives it to KDOT, who then gives it to the 147 agencies across the state.
Okay.
Now, FTA, let's just take for an example, the FTA used to give $100 million to KDOT. Well, when you got 147 agencies across the state that go from here to here in budget requests, KDOT only has one choice. They have to cut funding. And with me sitting on the board of KPTA, we've actually heard that this next fiscal year, they're looking at cutting operational and admin across the board, which could hurt a lot of agencies across the state of Kansas. And that's due to the FTA not giving more money to what they use.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, everything costs more. I think you all know that. We all know that. So
So would that restrict you? I don't, the budget in front of me, and I'm not advocating this right now. I'm just curious, if we were to increase the amount that we gave you, you wouldn't necessarily be able to get a full match to that, or you?
we get an 80-20 split from the state. KDOT pays us 80%. What we have to have in local match has to match 20% of whatever we get from the state. So the more money that we get from local funding, we can request more from
Okay.
the state. But that also depends on the other 147 agencies across the state of Kansas.
Right.
So even if you were able to give us more, which we would be more than happy to use, because we have a fleet that's starting to get old. And like I said, I've got 5 buses that are on order right now. So luckily, the ones that we ordered in 2023 are only going to cost us $143,000 because that's what we bought them then. But the ones I just bought for this fiscal year are $194,000 a piece. And it's ridiculous. It's crazy. But there's nothing you can do when you have a fleet that, you got vehicles that got 150,000 miles on them and transmissions are starting to go out on them. You're going to have to get them replaced, so eventually. So, but yes, if you did increase the budget on our side of it, yes, it would help. We've actually went to the city through the care council and asked them for more money.
Thank you.
I have no questions.
I
Thank
have
you.
no questions either. Thank you for the update.
You bet. You all
Thank
have a
you,
good
Ray.
day.
You too.
Thank you.
Hi, Commissioners. My name
Morning.
is
Morning.
Sarah Biggs, Director of Programs and Services at DSNWK, and KidLink is one of my branches. So just an update on July through December, 53 referrals. July through September, we had 31 active kids, and then 34 that later half that we served in Ellis County. These are just Ellis County numbers. Some of the exciting things we've seen grow is with USD 49, our early intervention screenings. So we've partnered with them to hit not only the 0 through 3, but the 0 through 5 children, so the Part B and Part C services in our county. Again, those are free of charge, and we've had quite a number of kiddos families coming in for their screenings. So we've been hosting the Interagency Coordination Council meeting, which is a great event that we bring in at DSNWK. So it has numerous different early intervention type programs so that we can help parents and all collaborate to get services, more services, share information. Let's see, child find activities. We loved Go Truck Go here in Ellis County, a great child find to get our information out to parents. Again, it's we're still one of those services, if you don't really need us, a lot of people don't know about us. So, and I am super excited to report that as in January of this year, we are fully staffed on KidLink. So that hasn't happened in probably over 5 years. So it's just really exciting to have all of our early interventionists on our team. So do you guys have questions for me on early intervention, KidLink? I did bring some brochures because I want to do my part and also get you guys the information to help do those referrals.
When you're saying fully staffed, how many are we talking about?
Yeah, I have to look at my cheat sheet.
Okay.
So we've got 2 full-time early intervention special educators, 3 coordinators, which Jerry had discussed here briefly. For adult services, it's very similar to targeted case management. So those coordinators just help link Christmas time, maybe where you go for your immunizations. They help link you to those services across our area. 2.5 speech SLPs. And then we do have contracts then with Phillips County Hospital, Russell County Hospital to cover some of those other specialty area needs. And then I do have Tammy Dreiling, our manager then of our service, so.
All right.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I have no questions. Thank you.
I don't either. I'll just make a comment again just general comment of hearing from Extension here from DSNWK, how fortunate we really are living in a community, in a county that has these sorts of services available to us. So I appreciate the update from these organizations. It really, in a way, touches my heart. Extension District, we're hearing about becoming a mom. And at DSNWK, I'm a father of a child with a disability. So, again, I count my blessings of living in our community that has these sources and resources available to our community. So appreciate the update.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for your support. So, thank you.
Next topic, speaking of resources in our community, Special Olympics event request. To approve or deny a request for rental rate reduction of the Unrein building. And Roberta Aborni, Special Olympics staff.
Good morning. I'm
Morning.
Roberta.
Good morning.
And as you guys know, the Hayes has the state basketball and cheerleading every year in March. And what we've done in the past for the last few years is they have a supper and banquet and dance in the evening on Friday night for all the athletes and the coaches and their staff that work with them. Well, we've always done pizza because we have a very limited budget of $1,500 is what they give us. And by the time we get all our athletes fed and everything, the food is usually cold. We run out of places for them to sit. And then we have a banquet with that, and then we have a dance. And they really enjoyed the dance, but we always have to move it to another building because we don't have a big enough area to do both at the same time. And a lot of our athletes struggle with getting in and out of the bus. Some are wheelchairs, some, it's just very hard for them to move from place to place. So we were looking at trying to find a place where we could do both at the same time, where we could have our banquet and then we could set up, tear down, and have our dance in the same place so the athletes wouldn't have to move from building to building. And this was kind of brought to us without any time to do fundraising, and that would usually be what we would do to raise the money for this. But with $1,500, we're kind of strapped to provide a hot meal and a place to have it. So we were wondering if you guys would be willing to not charge us for the building and be able to have both places, both things at the same time, if you would be willing to waive the fee. We were just trying to, last minute, find somewhere for them to go.
Okay. So is this something you're looking to try and do, because this is an annual event, is this something that you're looking to try and do and schedule for the upcoming years then?
Well, if we could have the building every year, we're not asking for you to do this every year.
Okay.
It was asked to us, well, if you can find a building and be able to feed 500 to 600 people with $1,500, we'll let you do a hot meal. Well, we're kind of strapped with and short of time to do a lot of fundraising. So this would mainly just be a one-time thing.
Oh, okay.
We're just kind of grasping at straws right now,
Understood.
so. And there's been some other places we've checked into, but they want us to use their meals, and we can't afford their meals plus the building. So,
Okay.
And the date for the event for this meal and the dance and everything would be the March 21st?
21st,
Okay.
it's on a Friday evening.
I take it we have availability. I mean, usually our fairground buildings are all booked up.
I talked to
Out in advance, so-
Melinda, as of last week, it was still available. And I
Okay.
told her what I was gonna be doing, and she said she would hold it, I guess,
Okay.
till I found out what was going on.
Yep.
So the total rental for that on here, it's $500 for that, everything.
Is that our typical rental, is 500? Or is
Sorry,
this-
Darren Myers, County Administrator. There's different rental rates based on the length of time. For the time that they would need it, would be that $500 for a 6-hour event.
Okay.
What would be needed for any kind of prep or cleanup or tear down from the rental manager, from Melinda and?
They have initial time to begin on, with contracts and such. I mean, this is pretty straightforward, but sometimes they meet with individuals to show them the space, a rental agreement, and then setting up time to get them the keys, usually a day or two before the event, and then they inspect and clean afterwards for what isn't always cleaned up for whoever does rent the building. And that's where that 20% of the fee comes in for $100. The longer the event, it's still 20%, but it requires maybe more cleaning, more time. But the people that rent the facility, they have to set up the tables, they have to tear it down, they have to take out the trash, not mop the floors, clean the floors. Melinda goes in with the floor scrubber and they clean it better, just kind of touch it up afterwards.
Okay.
Any
And
discussion from you guys?
is that something that you guys would be willing to do?
Oh, yeah, we'll clean everything up and take everything down, and
You know, I'll be honest, at first I was worried that it was gonna be an annual request, but I see the constraints that they've been put on and that they are willing to go and do the work for upcoming or their annual side. So to get this off the ground, I think this is I think this is an easy idea to go forward with. I know I'm part of an organization that does help support them and show support to the Special Olympics. So that aside, I've never actually participated. I've seen and I've heard, you know, the reaction from the athletes. So a banquet space, I believe, would be a great place.
Yeah, I'm open to it. My only consideration was if we kept maybe $100 for, so that way the managers of the facilities still aren't out themselves on it.
And we would be
But-
willing to pay that $100.
Okay.
Okay, that was my concern also, to, at least that we could break even on it. And then in an event, if something gets broke, I guess we will deal with it at that time, because that could happen, just like anyone else. So, as we go forward, if you guys are planning on next year at that, then we're gonna have to do contract, do the whole thing.
Yeah, we're running into a time crunch.
Yeah,
of
I see that.
Being able to fundraise and get enough money to pay for everything, because they kind of just brought it to us last minute, so.
And it's a great event. You're bringing 600 people to town. They're staying in hotels, eating at our restaurants, and
Yeah. and the
participating
athletes love
throughout.
it. Yeah, it's a great time.
It's a fun event. I've been there. So I'll take that into consideration in our discussion. Do we consider waiving the full fee of $500 or maintaining $100 for rental manager?
I would feel good with if we'd include the $100 fee.
Okay.
I'm the same way. I would support that if you guys are good with
Yeah,
that.
that would be great. We so
Pay
much
the manager fee.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Yep.
Then
Okay.
no
well then-
further discussion. I'll entertain a motion.
Okay. Well, I'll move to reduce the fee to $100 for the rental of the Unrein Building for the Special Olympics State Basketball Dinner and Dance.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion?
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
All those in
Thank-
favor say aye.
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 Thank
No
you.
opposed,
Thank you.
passes 3-0. Thank you, Bert.
Do we have to specify that $100 go directly to the manager or just pay the manager rate?
We have a,
Because otherwise it would more or less say that the manager rate would
It's
be
20%,
$20.
$20, so.
we have a contract with the fairground manager that states if this were to ever happen, that they would still retain their 20% of what the rental rate would have been. So
Okay.
that should cover it.
So
She wouldn't get 20% of 100, she would remain with the 20% of the original fee of 500, which would still be the $100.
okay,
Okay.
very good.
Next item, 2025 county agreement to treat noxious weeds for Kansas Department of Transportation.
Good morning,
Gary Haas.
Commissioners.
Morning.
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 I'm Gary Haas, County Weed Control Supervisor. I'm here today with the 2025 county agreement to treat noxious weeds for KDOT. With this agreement, we do the spraying on I-70 and 183. We do their bridge guardrails, we do their service yard, and we do their radio tower sites. I did update with an increase in 2023, and after reviewing our current costs, our benefits, fuel, equipment costs, I'd like to stay the same for one more year. That currently, we are at $38 an hour for labor. We're at $40 an hour for our trucks and $25 an hour for the UTV sprayer. With that, we have like a 3-year average of revenue of $9,345, and I would guess it would be similar again in this year. So, do you have any questions?
That's above the cost of chemical, that's the $9,000 is a.
That's
more or less-
that's chemical and everything included,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're not really profiting, they're
No, not
paying
the-
for our time and breaking even.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
And that's pretty well how we figure the cost, is we try to just kind of break even on that. And the equipment cost, it's hard to find the cost for the type of sprayers we have, but we have FEMA rates on like equipment, and that's what we've been going on that.
okay.
In the contract, just explain, it says if county does not wish to use dye, please cross out to what you have and initial what is dying or,
It'd be like, if you see yards and stuff where it's all painted blue or whatever, we don't want to add that cost of doing that to everything. So they give us the opportunity to cross that out and not do it. I mean, there's some things, like when we do the guardrails and stuff, where we're out hand spraying, we use it then, but not on our total applications.
So Gary, the same, pretty much same area, they haven't added anything or taken anything off, pretty much?
It's been the same ever since. The only thing, 3 years ago, they added having me do the guardrails.
Okay.
Other than that, pretty well, it's all been the same.
And you're looking at 26 possibly doing an increase with
Yeah,
the way
I think we're ready
everything?
for it then,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, and a lot of what I confer with our local counties and stuff, and we were right at we were maybe $1 or $2 higher than most of them, but we're right in there, and we'll be ready for an increase next year.
Okay. I move to approve the 2025 DOT Bureau of Maintenance county agreement to treat noxious weeds contract and authorize commission chair to sign.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Nope.
Call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Next agenda item, 2024 KPA KRMCA Municipal Concrete Award. Brendan. Okay.
Morning, Commissioners. Brendan
Morning.
McKay, Ellis County Public Works Director. At the conference, they said we could take that as we were leaving, so I took it from them, so a little easier to see for people up watching on video. So this past year, we completed our second phase of the Cathedral Avenue reconstruction project there in Victoria from 6th Street down to Old 40 Highway. As part of that, the engineer on the project submitted our project to the CAPA, KRMCA Association for their annual conference for consideration for an award, and we were awarded as a 2024 Municipal Concrete Award. We've got a lot of acronyms in our line of work. CAPA is the Kansas Aggregate Producers, and KRMCA is the Ready Mix Contractors Association. So their associations have a joint conference every year for their annual one, and we were one of the, I believe, 6 award winners.
Okay. What did we have to do to win that? Just pour concrete?
I don't know.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I don't know. It's a great project, and it was a great cap to that roadway, finishing it up.
Mhm.
There were some bumps here and there, and literally and metaphorically bumps, but I think that's all been smoothed out, and we've gained even more clearance from that road bridge. We still do have some vehicles thinking they can fit underneath there that do not, but if we had continued on the way we were doing it with our asphalt road, that clearance gap would keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So we may have increased it slightly. We left the sign the same just to be safe. That is the height clearance, just in case someone was a little bit off on the shoulder. We may have gained an inch or two with the new roadway, and it will last a very long time.
Good deal.
Were you able to attend the luncheon that they gave?
I did,
Oh, yeah?
yes. So I drove down there very early because I didn't know how interstate was going to be. And so I was able to attend their luncheon and their, sort of like how at KAC, that there was the cowboy and the coach talk, motivational speakers. There was a great motivational speaker there. And then I left early from the conference because they were calling for 3 to 5 inches of snow that night. So, and from about Salina, just after Salina to about Russell, the interstate was white out again. So took a couple extra hours to get back, but I said I was going to make it there to pick up our award. And that way I would have it in time to present to the commissioners today.
We're good. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon, thank you. I feel that thing needs to be displayed. I know you have,
You guys can keep that one. I'll
We-
put the little one up.
I know you had a smile on your face when we got those back to back like that to finish that all the way out to the
Yeah.
highway. Give a good road to the VCC now and the Historical Society from both directions with KDOT coming from the north, but
Yeah.
us also assisting on the south entrance of it. appreciate everything you've done, and like I say, I know there was times when you and I talked, and you had a smile on your face the whole time, and which was good. We have good people that make things happen. And then I do want to thank you too, since you're up there, for all the snow removal you done and doing it safely. And
Thank you. If you want an update on that, it was about 100, we had 142 hours from Road and Bridge, and then 17 hours from noxious weed for that snowstorm, the big snowstorm. I know the last meeting I was at, the commission asked for an update. Well, we approved the payroll yesterday, or the time clock entries yesterday. It's 142 hours from Road and Bridge, and some of the employees did flex that time by taking it off later in the week. So that number truly could have been higher if employees didn't have already time scheduled off or flex some of their time.
And since my bride is from Victoria, the bridge that is a big talk over in Victoria, how great of a job they done. So, along with the road going to the
A lot
cathedral.
of projects. We've been very fortunate here.
Yes.
Made big improvements to the Vincent crossing, the bridge right by Vincent on Old 40 that was very rough.
Yep.
The approaches were the worst part of it for the driving standpoint. The deck was not in good shape. That's why we did a skim and overlay on that deck. And same thing with the bridge right outside of Victoria, right as it curves into town there, and the speed limit's reduced. So both those were completed this year too, and they were done well ahead of schedule and did a great job. I know it was an inconvenience, but there's never a good time to close a road or a bridge, unfortunately. But doing them together at the same time minimize the impact to that roadway.
And they turned out nice.
It
Yeah.
did.
They
Very
turned out
nice.
Very nice.
Buys another 30-plus years for those bridges, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, all righty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Brandon.
If you'd like the poster board, I can leave it here for commissioners, or I can take it back to my office.
I don't know what we're gonna do with
I
it
don't know
here.
where we're gonna put it. You can
Hang
take
it
it
in your
along.
office.
Thank you, Brendan. We appreciate
Thanks.
it.
We got a new public works facility. You
Yep.
can find a nice spot to
We're
display
running out
it.
of room for all the awards, though, so we'll hang this one up, we'll put this one upstairs.
That's a good thing that we're running.
Should have built a
Yep,
bigger
all the
building,
award- Yep, all the awards.
huh? Closing documents for sale of the Public Works Facility Approval Resolution 2025-05. Darren Myers, County Administrator.
Morning, Commissioners. Darren Myers, County Administrator. As the commission is well aware, the Public Works crews are in their new facility up north, and over the process last year, the commission approved the sale of the property on 280th and the resolution to do so. And the closing date has been set, which is actually tomorrow, to transfer that property over to the new owner. As the part of the process and working with the title company, Mr. Jeter preparing a lot of the paperwork between the two, the title company is needing the commissioners to sign a resolution to show who has the authority to actually sign all those closing documents. So very simple resolution, and thanks to Mr. Jeter for working with me last week to get that completed on a short notice. But basically, it just gives the commission chair the authority to sign the closing documents and get that completed by tomorrow at 10.
For reminder to the public somewhat, that 605,000, how is that gonna move and impact our budget, or how did we budget for it?
The 2025 budget was developed before we knew what the actual sale price was going to be. So we have a dollar amount in there, but whatever the dollar amount was that we would actually sell it, in this case, it's $605,000. It'll be revenue in, which is budgeted for, so there's kind of waives the expense part of it for not having property tax allocated. So the $605,000 coming in is identified with the $605,000 expense to be transferred to Capital Fund 6 for any future projects that the commission may want to look. It helps reimburse the fund, which is the fund that was used to pay for the new public works facility. So if the $605,000 can be used for the, as the commission knows, the Hayes PD is moving out of the law enforcement center in possibly about August of next year. These funds would help replenish that fund for any future improvements that the commission may consider at that point.
And the payment of this is just a one-time payment. We're not taking, because this was asked of me, if we're not taking like half of it now and half of it later in the year, or any kind of other payment structure.
Correct. At closing tomorrow, the closing fees were agreed upon that we split between the seller and the buyer. But the payment would be received tomorrow and, at closing, and then we would deposit 100% of that payment. We'd receive 100% of that payment tomorrow as well. And that did remind me, I did have a mistake. If you look at the agenda, the resolution has 2 mistakes. I had an extra 0 on 605,000. So the true price is 605,000 that we're selling it for. And then I had the following repeated by the following. So I did send the county clerk the new resolution, which is the one that was in front of you to sign. So those are the 2 corrections to that resolution.
And we are completely moved out, correct? Sorry, I should have asked you that earlier.
There are a few items left still in the yard for us to pull out, but with the snow and ice, it wasn't possible for us to do so. So when we handed keys over to Gary shortly after the storm rolled through, so we could start moving machine into there, he said we could work with it, or he would work with us to, at a later date, get back into the property to take that stuff down.
Okay,
We were trying to do it, the snow came in and the snow stayed there, and
I understand.
there's little pieces of the wooden scraps and things like that that we'd like to clean up that are still at this point partially covered in snow, that when it melts away, we'll get in there and clean that stuff out.
Okay,
But
very good.
all equipment, major things are out. We will be pulling down the Ellis County Public Works sign on the side of the building. It just was very cold this morning. I didn't want to have someone stand on a ladder. And, prior to that, we had ice and snow out front of it, so it was not safest time for someone to get on a ladder to pull that sign down, just to eliminate any future confusion.
Okay,
So, thank you.
thank you. And I would like to thank Mr. Jeter, too, for getting this all done that quick. And
With that, I'll move to approve Resolution 2025-05, allowing the chair of the Ellis County Commission to sign the closing documents.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, passes 3-0. That is the last agenda item on our regular session. Darren, any administrator's report comments?
No, sir.
Neil, any comments?
Yeah, I was actually asked to come to the Child Task Force, which I go to that. You know, I try to hopefully get to their meetings every month, and that was a long one. That was their retreat, but a lot of good things happen in there. That's especially for our future, kids. So, and then I did go to the Farmer to Farmer at Thirsties and had some pretty good conversation there. And then as I was saying to Monique before, that I got the luxury of going to Holy Family, and there was approximately 50 kids there that we tested eyes, and with the HIPAA thing, I'm not going to say too much, but there was some that we found had some issues, so that's what we're after. That's what the testing's for. And then I did go to the city work session, and then Celebration Church had their 10th anniversary of Night to Shine, which was interesting. I had no idea there was even anything like that. And also I'd like to thank Lori. She did check into the 365, and for some reason last year there was a big increase. This year there was not much at all. So that was good news for that. And also hats off to these guys that are fixing that water leak. Been there, done that in a different type of a commodity, but you fight to get down in the ditch because it's warmer down in there. So I know what that's all about. But that's all I have.
Okay.
Nathan?
Well, like Commissioner Younger, I went to the Farmer to Farmer. I plan on attending the annual meeting for the Conservation District coming up here this week. So there's some good conversation going on with that. A couple of notes. We had DSNWK up here and kind of talking about what inflation has done to their organization. Just a couple of notes for us that we're going to see a lot more of that coming up in the next year that I believe we're all going to be dealing with. So I know there's a number of organizations out there that are feeling this constraint. So just a little heads up, it's coming.
That's a good statement that those that are watching this.
It's coming.
It's coming. It was just a matter of time.
So that's all I have.
I was third commissioner there at the farmer to farmer table. We all sat at different spots of the meeting, but I've not been, I mean, I have a farming background, but not battling it every day. I did take away some good talking points from that event, so I appreciate that was put on and we were invited to it. Then I attended, KAC held their annual, well, I guess it's annual, they host new county commissioners in Topeka at the first part of January, I think every other year when there was an election. But I went ahead and attended. I was in the area anyway, so I went ahead and attended even though I'm not necessarily new. But hearing from the KAC people in Topeka and just I take things away from them all the time, so it was very well worth me attending even though it was geared towards new commissioners. There's still a lot of good information out there, so appreciate being able to attend that on behalf of the public. In my last comment, we've just known, I've kind of touched on this and Neil touched on it. In the last few weeks, weather and everything has really put a constraint on our public services, but again, it just is a call out that our public services is a really talented crew of people, whether it's city or county, and that we need to kind of give them their due and their respect that they're out there battling these elements with, because the public expects service. They expect their water to be there when they turn on the tap, and they expect the roads to be cleared when they need to be. But to be able to do that, we need to be able to pay and have the equipment and take care of our public services in a way that we, in the same way that we expect their services to be provided to us. So again, thinking about the water crews having to battle water in these temperatures and getting things back together. But it's a tough job, and that's where we are. Come budget time, we have to kind of remember what that is all about. So with that, we got a couple executive sessions.
I move to the Board of County Commissioners recess to executive session for 10, or is that 10? 10 minutes under the following exception to the KOMA, pursuant to the non-elected personnel matter exception. The subject to be discussed during the executive session is a personal matter. The attendance of Board of County Commissioners and Bill Jeter, Darren Myers, and Jennifer Taylor. And 50, yeah, 9:50.
You got a second? Second.
I'll second that, sorry.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, passes 3-0. motion to extend?
I'll make a motion, we extend 10 minutes to return at 10 o'clock.
Seconded. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, 3-0. session at 10:03. No decisions were made. We have a second executive session.
Yes. Okay, I move to the Board of County Commissioners recess for an executive session for 15 minutes under the KOMA pursuant of a non-elected personnel matter exception, another personal matter. Those attending are the Board of County Commissioners, Bill Jeter, Mike Liker, and Darren Myers.
I'll second that.
And
What time?
We'll be back at 10:20.
20.
I'll second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, pass 3-0. executive session at 10:21. No decisions were made. And we'll adjourn county commission meeting at 10:22.